You want me to?
I'll start. So it's really weird. It's like really nervous. Right.
Yeah.
Do it. Right, so today I'm here with Jody, who has been coaching me since, I think was it start of the year?
Yeah.
I think it was start of the year. And he's given his time today to answer some of your questions about coaching, lots of different things that you've been asking about. So if you just want first to start by introducing yourself, what you do and your background really.
Yeah, so my name's Jody Warrington. I've been coaching for the last 7 years. So I run and own Transition Cycle Coaching. So transition work with riders new to the sport and riders at professional level. So this could be people who are competing on the international stage, or somebody who just wants to gain basic fitness from just commuting, or they want to become faster on the local group ride. So we work with both sides of the scale.
So now we're going to answer some of your questions. So the first one we've got is from Alicia Francis, who says, is it silly for me to be coached when I don't race? It's just for my own confidence. Also, how do you think I could fit it in my schedule with work and a child?
So this is a very common question we get from most people, is it silly for me to be coached if I don't race? And the way I like to look at it is somebody who, let's say for example, you go to the gym to improve your fitness or your body composition, but you've not got aspirations to perform on stage as a fitness model, but people still will hire a personal trainer to improve that fitness. And it's the same with cycling. And what cycling can bring is, you know, an increase in strength, an increase in stamina. And this ain't only going to improve your confidence on the bike, but it's also going to improve your confidence and your self-esteem off the bike. With regards to fitting training in and around work and family commitments, this is the biggest area for most people. And the reason it is because people tend to not create any consistency with the training. They tend to do too much, which then puts a burden on the work and family commitments when they get nagging from partners, husbands, children, because you become so focused on the cycling aspects. So what you want to be doing is you want to be looking at what time do I have available to train. So let's say for example it's 5 hours per week you've got, but then you're reading magazines that people do 12 hours a week, they do 14 hours a week, and then you start to create these beliefs that you need to do that type of volume to improve. It's not true. So if you've got 5 hours a week, if you do 5 hours a week for 5 months and remain consistent, because consistency is key with anything in life, you're going to improve as a rider and you're going to move forward as a rider. And basically that's the key of just finding what you can do and just remaining consistent week in, week out, listening to your body, and you can't go wrong really.
Because that was the thing when I started being coached by Jody, is that I'm not racing. I don't do any kind of time trialing. I literally just ride my bike. I don't race at all. And equally, the time thing, because I was working a full-time job. Obviously, I do YouTube as well, so it was trying to fit that in. And they're really, really good at kind of adapting how many hours. And say for 1 week, I've got extra commitments. I'm not going to be able to do that this week. Then they will adapt the training so that can fit in. So I'm still getting consistent training, but they're kind of working it around my schedule, which is, I think, a really important thing as well. So
very important. And just one final thing to point out is you can get a lot of work done within an hour window. With specific structured training, you can get a lot done, and a lot of people don't think you can. They think you need all this volume, and it's not true. You can get a lot done. So if you're restricted Monday to Friday with the amount of hours you've got to train, make that your quality sessions. And then on the weekend, you might have 2, 3, 4 hours on a Saturday. That's when you get your volume in, and just play with it.
Perfect. Good answer, good answer. So the next one, the next one we've got is from Patrick Baker, who says, trying to increase my FTP for Zwift winter race season using a mixture of 40-mile round-trip commutes plus structured indoor interval sessions. I find I get better results from indoor sessions, sweet spot, VO2 max, etc. How many hours or sessions per week can I do before the training becomes unproductive? At the moment I'm experimenting with 3 commutes per week plus 5 hours of indoor interval sessions, but I find I struggle to hit target power on indoor sessions because my legs are weak from the previous day's commute. That is a long question.
So great question, Patrick, and looking at your question is your volume seems too much, so you're doing 3 commutes a week and that's 20 miles each way. Now, I don't know what type of work you do if you're in an office, if you're on your feet, so we probably do need to know more about what your lifestyle's like and what your work is like in general, but they're long commutes, 20 miles there, 20 miles back. So if you're doing that 3 times a week and then you're doing 5 hours of indoor training as well, and you're struggling to hit the numbers, you know, you need to listen to that body and sort of think, what do I need to do? So do you need to take those 5 hours of indoor training down to 2 hours per week? Or do you need to back off one of your commutes? Or you might be commuting too hard, you might be pushing too hard in the commutes, you might need to just spin to and from work with your commutes. You know, this is the thing with coaching, it's individual for everybody. It's not like, there's a lot of generic training plans out there, and I don't really want to beat on like Zwift and Training Road and stuff with those plans, but a lot of them are just very generic and so the masses can do them. So in terms of training becoming unproductive, this is where the progressive approach to training needs to be applied. So you need to have progressive overload with everything you do. So let's say, for example, you're commuting to work 3 times a week, and then those indoor sessions, for example, are improving your fatigue resistance within tempo ranges. You don't really need to know what that means, but let's say, for example, you're focusing on improving your tempo. You need to be progressive with that. So let's say, for example, you're doing 20-minute intervals, or let's say 4 times 10-minute intervals with 5-minute recoveries, and then you know you're doing it again and it feels a bit easier. So then the next session you might do 4 times 10 with 4-minute recoveries, or 4 times 11 with 4-minute recoveries, and you've applied that slight progression. The moment that you don't provide that progression and you're commuting 3 times a week, you're doing 5 hours on the turbo, you're struggling to hit the numbers on the turbo, you're tired, you'll just plateau, and it's all about cost benefit analysis. So what is the cost of this training fatigue to the benefit adaptations? And what it sounds like with what you're doing is you're just doing a lot of stuff, a lot of commuting, a lot of hours on the turbo, and you're just a bit tired and you don't really know what you're progressing from, what's working, what's not working.
And so what would you say to him? Just cut back his training?
So you need more focus with each phase of training. So let's say, for example, you've tested, you know your zones. Now you're going to use your commutes as your aerobic based fitness to and from work. A bit easier. If you can do that, you might have to commute harder to get there in time. I don't know. That's why we need a little bit more to the question, and we can follow this question on in the comments of this video if you want to. And then with the indoor work, you need to do it with always that mindset of progression, progression, progression. You don't want to go on it doing like VO2 work, because VO2 is maximising fitness. You do that at a certain point once you start to plateau. So forget about VO2 for a moment. Focus on tempo, sweet spot, whatever it is you feel work, and then do a session so it slightly hurts, nagging intensity. You want it to nag at you, and then you get on top of that nagging feeling, and you progress it. And you do it again, you get on top of that nagging feeling, you progress it, and this way you're going to see these progressive steps forward on a weekly, monthly basis, rather than with what you've described at the moment, commuting, struggling to hit numbers on the turbo. You're just going to flatline, and there's only 2 ways: you're either going up or going down, and ultimately you will start to go down.
Perfect, so I hope that helps, Patrick.